Hey, how's it going, everybody? I hope you all had an awesome 4th of July celebration and weekend. A little slow on getting this video out this month, but the good news is that there's definitely some interesting stuff to take a look at in the local housing market here in the Los Angeles County and South Bay Beach Cities areas for the beginning of July 2019. First, wanted to just take a quick second and thank all of the new subscribers to the channel, as well as anybody who reached out to me directly or left comments on YouTube, etc. So thank you very much to all of you who did that. So let's go ahead and jump in. Wanted to first start off by just taking a quick look at interest rates, which essentially are pretty stable. They haven't really changed much since the last video. We're down here at about 3.75% currently, and really these rates are extremely low. And although there was an initial boost that we saw in the housing market as a result of these low rates, now we're seeing continued weakness. And in fact, as you're going to see as we move forward, the first year-over-year price declines that are significant in both of the areas that I'm covering, Los Angeles County and South Bay Beach Cities. So let's actually jump in. We'll take a look at the data. We'll start off here and look at what's happening in Los Angeles County as a whole, and we'll look at median prices, which are actually down 0.5% year over year. I believe the last video they were down 0.1% or something like that, but now they're down about 0.5%. So not super significant, but certainly not going up from a year over year standpoint any longer, and certainly not beating the rate of inflation, which means if you own a property, at least considering from where prices were a year ago, you would have essentially lost a couple percent in value as a result of inflation and the slight modest price drop that you're seeing here. Now, if we take a look at what's happening with inventory, again, we're seeing kind of the same trend. Surprisingly, it really hasn't broken out past kind of this peak of last year, 2018. But that being said, the overall inventory level throughout all of 2019 has been significantly higher as an average than everything that we experienced in 2018. And in fact, it is up 20% year over year. So not super crazy, but definitely 3.6 months. It's starting to grow in a market where typically low inventory is the norm. Now, if we take a look at closed sales in the county of Los Angeles, we see kind of a similar trend as we've been seeing. We're down 10.3% year over year, which isn't terrible, but definitely not good either. As you look back here, you see other years that kind of had higher peaks around this time of year, and we're certainly not getting up anywhere that high so far this year, and I don't believe we're going to see a jump in closed sales for the rest of the year, which means our kind of trend or our average closed sales are still going to be significantly lower than last year or the previous year, or probably the other previous years before that as well. Now, let's take a look at what's happening in the South Bay out of our board of realtors. And here's where things definitely get a bit more interesting. Our year over year, currently, we're down 4.9% in median prices. I think for the South Bay, this is the first year that we're down year over year, and definitely the first time that we're down by this significant of an amount year over year. Now, if we switch to a bar chart here and just say, look at the last 3 years, this really kind of paints a clear picture of what's happening. Back in 2017, we had a median home price at $660. Then we went up to $789 in 2018. And now a year later, we're down 4.9% to $750,000. So with interest rates being extremely low, the introduction of all kinds of programs to help buyers buy with little or no money down, we're still seeing prices start to taper off and come down to some extent, depending on where you're talking about. We're still seeing more inventory sit on the market, and we're still seeing the number of sales falling across the board. So certainly not a strong real estate market as we saw for many years, and definitely a substantial slowdown. Overall, the market is still moving. People are still buying. Homes are still selling, but it's not the feverish pace that we were used to for such a long time with so much competition, depending, of course, on where you're buying or where you're looking to sell your home, etc. Now, if we look at what's happening with the supply of inventory in the South Bay, here's where definitely we're seeing kind of a huge increase. We still are right where we were all the way back in 2014, and we haven't broken past that, which is kind of interesting to me because I thought we would. But again, just like Los Angeles, and in this case, much more so, we're far above where we were most of these previous years, and definitely vastly above anything that we saw all of last year. So if you're a buyer out there or you're selling your home, it's going to feel like there's a lot more homes on the market. For a buyer, it's going to be much easier to find a home and get an offer accepted. But for a seller, there's going to be a lot more competition. So the condition of your home, the pricing that you use, all of these things are going to be much, much more important than they would have been a year ago or 2 years ago, and so on. Now, if we take a look at the closed sales, similar thing that we're seeing here, probably much more pronounced than Los Angeles County as a whole. We're down 12.6% year over year. 2018, as you can see here, was fairly soft compared to the couple years preceding that. It doesn't look like we're going to have any peak months where we have, a big jump in sales or anything like that throughout the rest of 2019. In fact, we might already be over the hill for peak selling season, and we could just trend downwards from here. As you see, kind of July, maybe August is kind of where we generally tend to peak in previous years. Here it was June. And so here we are, we've already passed June and now we're in July. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but definitely more weak signs coming out of the Los Angeles housing market overall. So if I can help you with anything real estate related here in the Los Angeles County area, definitely reach out to me, give me a call. And appreciate you watching the video, and I'll look forward to seeing you next month. Thanks so much.